And welcome again to another episode of Plug Talk Sports. I'm Brett Hernandez, and later on we're going to be joined by Blake the intern and other company. Danny unfortunately was unable to come. Jonka don't stop. The overall Canes opsonaut, he is unable to come in today. Again, we're going to have Blake later on the show, but still a full slate of football work, basketball work, and just alone in South Florida though. I mean, the Hurricanes right now somehow, some way from the last College Football Playoff Committee saying that they are the best chance ACC team out of the conference to make the college football playoffs. And again, maybe not even make it to the ACC championship, but potentially make the playoffs. We're going to talk about that. FIU a little bit away from getting back to some normalcy. First chance to really get to bowl eligibility since 2019, a win away for them. That and more, and even some Dolphins talk in España. Not going to practice my Spain, especially Madrid, Spain. I think it's like there's a big difference between like European Spanish and Caribbean Spanish and even South American Spanish. For all the Cubans out there that know, they know. But let's get right into the news, though. The top 25 AP poll was released over the Sunday of the weekend. And this is, again, a poll that's not going to be based mostly for that of the College Football Committee's voting, which will happen actually, funny enough, Tuesday, tomorrow at 8:30 on ESPN exclusively. But it gives a little foreshadowing of what happens. And we're going to go through 1 through 25, going from 25 all the way down to 1. And for those who are eyeing on the Hurricanes and where they are, trust me, it gets interesting. At 25, Houston, 24, Tulane taking in the spot. They would be potentially one of the two group of 4 teams available to make the college football playoffs. South Florida losing into Navy, which was like an insane upset. They end up getting slid out, which is unfortunate for Byron Brown and the South Florida Bulls. That was a team that a lot of people, after the Florida game that they beat early on in the year, after beating out Memphis, that was a team that a lot of people were like, man, they might have, it's like a kid. They might have a good Heisman guy. Her head coach might be going out into this coaching carousel, which as of right now in the ACC, it's a lot of early pickings. I mean, James Franklin, former Penn State head coach, now going to Virginia Tech, announced earlier today. And that was something that people assumed was going to happen. The guy's a Virginia-born guy, and he wants to win championships. In the ACC, unless you're Dabo Swinney, it's a far stretch to do so. But you never know. Either way, at 23, Mizzou, and then the University of North Texas. 66 years they have not been ranked in the top 25 AP poll for football. They are finally breaking that curse and ranked at 22. 21, James Madison University, JMU, making it into this ranking. They weren't in the last one. And this was one where, if South Florida was to lose, they would be that team to replace them and potentially replace them in making the college football playoffs as that last seed, as a basically group of 4 team. And James Madison's schedule, again, a 9-1 team. It's interesting. One loss and they might be kicked out, but they are so tough. And competition-wise, there's not a lot of things waiting on them on the other end. Really interesting one here, though. Again, when we talk about the ACC, Virginia on top of Tennessee here. Tennessee at 20, UVA, Virginia at 19. A weird shift. I'm not saying Virginia isn't all that, especially when you have like the conference play. They've been pretty decent in that. But 9-2 record. Michigan ahead of them with an 8-2 record. They beat out Northwestern in the Chicago Cubs, Wrigley Field. And I'm not saying like in a bashful way, but can we stop doing football games in baseball stadiums? I remember when the Hurricanes had to play a bowl game in the Pinstripe Bowl at Yankee Stadium. And it's like, oh, the ambiance, right? The overall just like, oh, look how incredible this is. As shout out to Avery here. Shout out to Avery. And Avery might even agree on this. And again, leave your comments in the section. Do you think football games really belong in baseball stadiums like that? I mean, again, this is coming from a South Floridian where I saw Marlin games right at Hard Rock Stadium. It used to be Sun Life, right? So, again, don't like the idea, but for Michigan fans, they did see a win in a baseball stadium, Wrigley Field over Northwestern. They're at 18. Texas dropping 7 spots to 17. I'm not saying I disagree with it. And again, this is the Associated Press. So who knows exactly what the College Football Committee is going to be talking about. But for Texas to get embarrassed in that entire fourth quarter in Athens, Georgia, a game where they were within 4 points, you could have done something, but then you allow a touchdown. It's like, okay, let's see if the offense responds. Special teams can't even respond. I'm telling you, also, shout out to Avery again. Do I like LSU? Funny enough, I'm a Gator grad, so I have like a iffy thing. Again, this is an SEC bias, maybe a little bit. Louisiana in Baton Rouge, and we could probably talk about that a bit on this podcast as well, because Lane Kiffin's family was in Baton Rouge in Louisiana, and we open up this podcast as well talking about Virginia Tech, getting James Franklin. So Louisiana, not good this year, but definitely I think down the road. And again, if they can pull Lane Kiffin out of Ole Miss saying there's an ultimatum, you got to let us know what the future is going to be for their program here in Mississippi and Oxford before the Egg Bowl. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think LSU potentially could take away Lane Kiffin. And Lane Kiffin, a bound Florida Gator. Steve Spurrier, obviously a big impact on his family and his overall viewpoint of life. But either way, to the rankings we go. So Texas going down 7 spots, lost to Georgia, an embarrassing fourth quarter. I think the College Football Committee might do a little bit better for them. I don't think they should have dropped down to 17. Southern Cal at 16. They have a big game against Oregon coming up overall this weekend. Actually, I think College Game Day 2 is going to be there as well, if I'm not mistaken. But the Trojans at 16, pounding on that door for the College Football Committee tomorrow. Georgia Tech at 15. They moved down a spot. And this is a team that survived against a Boston College team led by O'Brien that only has a win. No conference, alignment. No, nothing can save Boston College. Boston College at this point right now in their program is just trying to climb out of their own gutter. And Georgia Tech nearly got stuck in that gutter with them, but they were able to win it out late. With that being said, that's probably my biggest standpoint with these rankings, because right above them, we're talking about the University of Miami Hurricanes off of blowing out NC State and CJ Bailey on senior day. I think when the AP Associated Press and the voters, which span across the entire nation of different writers, they saw that and said that the Hurricanes, not only the team is efficient, but the offense is consistent. Beck's consistent. The running game, even with a backup like Pringle, who made his first ever start as a Hurricane this season, I think they see that. And it's like, okay, this team, they're getting stronger. They're getting better. The 2 losses that the Hurricanes have had, as bad as the Louisville May game, and again, Louisville losing the Clemson game, booted out altogether in overall rankings, which should have happened a very long time ago. I think the funny thing about it, Dabo Swinney on a Clemson team that does absolutely nothing this year is still causing havoc late in the always crazy conference of the ACC. Either way, Louisville goes out. But for the Hurricanes, they look strong. They moved 2 spots up in the AP poll. And God knows, with the loss of Texas, with Oklahoma and maybe Bama sliding a little bit, maybe the Canes even push themselves even a better chance after the next committee tomorrow, 8:30 on Tuesday on ESPN. So yeah, Hurricanes at 14, Utah Utes at 13, Vanderbilt moving up a little bit at 12, BYU 9-1 BYU. Not a lot of people talking about it. Again, the one loss in the Holy War against Utah? I got to double check. But speaking of that, though, because we did talk about the Canes a little bit, I do want to bring in Mr. Jonka Don't Stop, Mr. UM in the flesh. Jonka, now, before going into the top 10 or the top 25 AP poll, and again, as previously said, the College Football Committee will have their poll tomorrow on Tuesday. But Jonka, the Canes moving up 2 spots. Yep. And this was where I talked about earlier, because I want your input about this. Georgia Tech struggling against Boston College, a 1-win team. Miami blowing teams out when they need to late in the year. What do you think about this?
Listen, it's a funny story about that game, because I was at the mall with my sister, my brother, whatever. We were at Cheesecake Factory. I could not take my eyes off my phone because Boston College had me giving me heart palpitations. Like, are they really gonna give an early Christmas gift to the Canes right now? Georgia, and I want to call out this idiot. Yes, I am calling him an idiot.
Okay.
The kicker for Boston College needs to be cut immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately. You giving a 25, I think it was a 25-yard punt. I could be wrong, but I think it was a 25-yard punt. Well, super late in the fourth quarter, giving Georgia Tech that field position to take the lead, which broke out for like a 40-yard touchdown run, buddy. Fix that putting situation in Boston College. And then having the opportunity to win that game with a field goal. Now I understand it was going to be like a 60+ yarder, but things like they didn't even really go for a Hail Mary. It was like a 20-yard pass. I'm like, whoa, what are you doing right now? Like, this is why you're 1-9, now 1-10.
No, I mean, and again, that's with Bill O'Brien, because that's like a former NFL guy, former Alabama coordinator under the Saban rule. I think and I hate to put it out there because he does great things in the NFL. He might be the least successful former Alabama coordinator under Nick Saban.
Yeah, I think so.
I just don't see it. I just don't see Boston College getting any better. I think the Flutie years are way behind by like a whole decade, if not a century at this point. But again,
they had a
two-score lead. And they couldn't hold it at home. And I think that was senior day too, like the last day for the seniors to go out like that. That's disgusting. That's disgusting.
But talk about the Canes, though.
I know. Blowing out teams you should blow out.
I don't know what. Maybe it takes them to lose 1 or 2 games for some reason to then find their footing.
Yep.
But article up now by me about the game on Saturday. But man, this is a game that we had to make a statement because I think NC State was averaging like 32 points a game. Their offense was doing really good. CJ Bailey, South Florida kid who attended Chaminade Madonna with Jeremiah Smith and JoJo Trader. If you guys know them, you should know them, especially Jeremiah. He knows what he's doing. They got 10 on that offensive side, but just Miami's defense came out to play, bro. Especially on senior day, on homecoming day.
I know
they were not gonna give them the benefit to win on senior day when a lot of our star players, Ruben Bain, Maui Noah, Nez Cooper, everybody's their last year, so that was not gonna happen. Jacoby Thomas, I don't know yet. I'm not gonna say he's the best safety right now in college football because I know Caleb Downs is out there though.
Yeah, so he is out there. But hey, he's making a great statement though. 2 interception game plus a pick 6, and the best thing because I don't know if you saw it, but the pick 6 where he points at Bailey again, mind you, his home state. Get over here, bah, straight into the end zone. And speaking of which, we're gonna bring in Blake straight in here. Coming straight from the Panthers, 8-6?
8-5.
8-5 insanity game. But Blake, we're talking college football here. And Jonko was talking about the Canes beating out NC State. Obviously, the road is there. You know, you go on the road now. Virginia Tech, who just announced James Franklin as their newest head coach, so they're still in the rebuild. And then you have to go on and face Pitt, who got obliterated by Notre Dame. Blake, I'm curious about your thoughts. They moved to 14 in the AP poll. Again, not the College Football Playoff Committee poll, but the AP poll at 14. Georgia Tech drops below them.
Yeah. I'll be honest. Jonka knows this. At first, I didn't understand why people were complaining that Notre Dame was in front of Miami. I didn't get it. I'm like, oh, when Miami's losses came, who they lost to, Notre Dame, one of their losses was to the team that was number 3 in the country at the time. Became number 3 after they beat them. But now looking at it, I think it's just BS that Notre Dame would be in and Miami isn't. Because I'll be honest, we haven't seen the college football playoff poll, and they'll get to that, but the whole big thing was, and even the AP said it, this year they wanted to start being more, all right, if it's a head-to-head matchup, that's going to matter. That matters now. They said it did before, but it never did. Like, it didn't matter if you beat the number 1 team in the country. If you were 18th, you weren't going to go to the top 10. They put you at like 11. But my question is, because when you look at the voting numbers, Miami's not that far off Notre Dame. They're pretty darn close. They're only, I think it's like 300 points off. If you're only 300 points off, how do you not just swap the 2? Or even just bump Notre Dame down and put Miami up, because to me personally, if the head-to-head is mattering as much as they're saying it is, because the college football playoff committee last year got a lot of grief because certain teams were making the end of it and they were losing head-to-head matchups to teams that were number 13 and 15 in the country, then how's Miami not in it? Yeah, what's up, buddy? Shout out Miami, but I don't get how they vote for these things. We've talked about it all year. The way they vote doesn't make sense because, like, who was it? Iowa State? I can't remember because early in the year that they did everything they could to keep them in the top 10. Who was it?
Oh yeah, I think it was Iowa State because they
Iowa State.
Gordon Tyson.
They did everything they could to keep them in the top 10 because they were barely winning games against bad teams, and then when they went up against one ranked opponent and they lost by 30, and then they're like, okay, we can't do anything anymore. But then Miami's case was, their quarterback played bad twice.
Yeah,
and it doesn't make sense to me personally and don't get me wrong, my first ever article I wrote for you guys was how bad I think Carson Beck is basically, and how I think he's going to hamper the team, and I think he has been doing that. But at the same time, there's just it doesn't make sense to me how you go, Miami beat Notre Dame. But if it was at Notre Dame, they definitely would have won that game. So we're just going to put them at 9 and keep Miami at 14 in the AP. Who cares now about head-to-heads? And it's just showing that they don't. They have agendas. If Notre Dame was in a conference, they wouldn't be in the top 12.
Maybe. Yeah, that is a good case because, again, we talk about, conferences eating up people. Right. Mm-hmm. And again, a big example of that I mentioned previously before John could join, but Texas sliding down 7 spots in the AP poll to 17 off that one loss to Georgia, an embarrassing fourth quarter again for the Longhorns. That could be the case for these top 10 teams, which we can go into right now. Alabama being a perfect example, dropping 6 spots in the AP poll at number 10. Number 10, Alabama Crimson Tide. Notre Dame stagnant at 9. Oklahoma Sooners, after being Bama, John Mateer in the driver's seat, now they could really, map out a way to stay in as a powerhouse team instead of like one of the conference winners. Oklahoma are number 8 with the Sooners. Texas Tech, obviously one of the teams to beat this year at 6. They are tied with the Oregon Ducks. And again, Oregon having a big matchup against Southern Cal. College Game Day is going to be there for that one. Mm-hmm. The top 5, I'm not confused about it, but 10-1 Ole Miss at 5. They move up a spot. Mm-hmm. And again, their win against the Gators, Kawan Lacey having a hell of a game. It's kind of like we're waiting on Ole Miss to lose, and that felt like the game that Ole Miss should have lost, especially Lane Kiffin.
It's such a weird spot for them because they're really good, but we don't know how good they really are. You know what I mean? So they don't know what to do because if they keep winning, you have to keep moving them up. But exactly. I'm going to be honest, I love Ole Miss. I think everyone my age just grew up liking Ole Miss because the jerseys were cool as a kid. Do I think Ole Miss is basically right there with Texas A&M? I don't personally. I don't think it's very close.
Speaking of, again, I told a lot of people that is the team to beat in the SEC. They nearly got beat. We're down 30-3 against the South Carolina Gamecocks.
I'm shocked that they kept their ranking at 3, though. I will say that.
Yeah, I did think that possibly Georgia would have overlapped them, which is an insane. And again, this is the AP poll we're talking about, but with such an insane domination in that second half over Texas, I thought that they probably would have overleaped them. But a 30-3 comeback and not allowing a single point throughout the entire second half, I think that does show a lot. And again, we'll see what the committee thinks tomorrow. I think the committee is going to see that as a strength, though, that you protect home fields. No one's going through the pass, the 12th man, and they didn't like Reed looked incredible. They nearly came back alone in the third quarter, basically. So, and again, that's another thing too. So UGA at 4, Texas A&M at 3, Indiana, Mendoza, and also we had to say Mendoza, now the program single season touchdown leader at quarterback now for the Hoosiers. And of course, Ohio State, undefeated and unmatched at 1. They've been number 1 for the past, every single week, basically. So I just want you guys' thoughts on this. Jonka, I'll go with you first here.
Yeah. Top
25 AP poll. What's this statement here? Is there a team that you were like, how does this look like? What were your thoughts initially of this?
I mean, I'm just gonna bring up my team because this is what I would say. if you're not gonna put Miami over Notre Dame, even though you can't, even if you had that statement of a hypothetical matchup, you don't need a hypothetical matchup because it did happen. Week 1, Miami won, and then if you look at the similar teams that they went up against, Notre Dame blew out NC State. So did we, but guess what? They held them to the same amount of points that we did, but we scored more. So that's a +2 for me.
Has to be.
+2 over Notre Dame, and we have the same record. And but I think it's like, in what other sport do you have the matchup against them and you beat them? You should have the tiebreaker over them. And for some reason, Notre Dame is still up there, and Alabama having the same amount of wins and losses that we do. They lost to FSU. We beat FSU. So I'm not understanding the math here. I don't. Why is BYU at 11? I think they should be higher. Like, I'm not understanding the logic in. I'm gonna lose my mind here.
Yeah.
I still think I said this.
Like Texas should not be ranked. Texas should not be ranked.
Junk, I said
Whoa.
Should not be ranked.
This shouldn't be ranked?
Should not be ranked.
Wow. Okay. Because again, I like the SEC eating up the SEC, but are they? I don't think Texas is better than Tennessee. Like, I don't think they're like Texas is probably.
It'd be a damn good game.
Yeah,
it would be a good game. Yeah,
really good game there. But again, I think Texas would say Texas is better than Michigan. Texas is better than Tennessee, Virginia, and hell, I mean, honestly, I would even go out of my way and say Texas is better than Georgia Tech, in my opinion. I think it's just where they're at. The competition in the conference, because every single Texas game is like a primetime game. And we're talking about head-to-head too as well. Texas kind of blew out in a rivalry game against Oklahoma, which again, anything can happen in a rivalry game. But Texas at 17, that makes sense to me though, because it's like, for according to the AP poll, because again, we haven't seen the committee yet, Texas, if the committee even has like a little bit of an influence with the AP poll and vice versa, this might be it for the Texas Longhorns in making the playoffs this year.
Oh, they're done. No, once you hit 3 losses, I think you're just out.
I think unless, and again, because we talk about.
Which, by the way, I don't agree with. I think if you're in the SEC, you should be given leverage on it because of how good the teams are there.
No,
I'll be honest. If we were actually picking, Brandon, I think you agree with this. If we're actually picking the 12 best teams, 5 of them are in the SEC.
Easily.
Like, that's not crazy. I'll be honest with you, Brandon. I think one team that's going to shake everything up that holds fate in their hands is Michigan. I said it 2 weeks ago. Because if Michigan just does their job until they get to Ohio State and they upset Ohio State, they have to be in. You have to be in if they win Ohio State.
But I will also say the same thing for Southern Cal, though. Because, again, we're talking about a Trojan team that could win against Oregon. And for some reason, the committee has looked at that one loss to Indiana at home as kind of like, you know, the hurdle. Like, you can't put this as a top 5 team because that one loss against Indiana, again, is number 2.
Yeah.
But let's say Southern Cal does it. Let's say they end up winning out against Oregon. That might be an argument to put them over Ole Miss. And, I mean, I'm not saying the Dogs are going to be a team to be, like, taking out the top 4, but it will be a real consideration if Southern Cal beats out Oregon because I think Oregon's that good this year.
Are we – okay, look. Texas plays Arkansas at Texas, and then the very last week they played number 3 Texas A&M. Do we actually think Texas is gonna win that game against A&M? No. So if Texas loses another game and makes that a 4-loss season, do they make the playoffs?
No.
That's what I want. I want to keep it consistent here because like they lost to Florida, we didn't. I'm just saying.
Look, I think, and again, the UF loss was bad, and that was a healthy Florida team. Florida right now missing a lot of guys on offense.
A lot of guys.
But I would say that a lot of things would need to fall in the SEC for Texas to make it into playoffs. And depending what happens with the committee, because the Hurricanes, no one even had the Hurricanes in the playoffs until the last poll by the College Football Committee. Because when they put the Hurricanes as the top ACC team, which no one expected that over Georgia Tech, a lot of people immediately said, oh, well, the Canes could really make it if they just went out. Because, again, the Canes most likely not even make it to the ACC championship, which will actually be the next thing we're going to go talk about. The ACC championship game.
Crazy, bro.
There is and again, we talk about Miami. We talk about the chances to get into the college football playoffs. We talk about the chance to get into the ACC championship. They have better chances as of today of making the playoff than the ACC conference championship. They have a 15% chance to make the playoffs as at least a seeded team, maybe 11 seed or something like that for the road on the first round. For the championship, they need multiple things to happen. Again, a 2-loss conference team have about a 5 to 4% chance as of today. Best chances, of course, Georgia Tech included in that. And who knows? Maybe Virginia might lose games. Pitt has already on that cycle of down spiraling after Notre Dame. Maybe they go ahead and lose to Miami in the last week. Maybe that may push the Hurricanes. Maybe might have until the last week of the year to see who really makes the conference championship. Blake, I want your thoughts on this because obviously not a lot of chances for the Canes to make the ACC championship. But do you think there's some there's a window? Do you think they can make that window?
So I think the Canes hold their own destiny because the thing is for the Hurricanes, if they don't make the ACC title game, that's fine. The reason that's fine is as of right now, it'd be Virginia would go to the ACC title game and play Georgia Tech, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yep.
If Virginia beats Georgia Tech in the ACC title game, Virginia's at 22 in the AP. I don't expect them to be much higher in the college football rankings, in the college football playoff rankings, because they do all the way to like 30 basically, but they only post 25. Let's say they're 20 in the playoff rankings. They go win the ACC title game. Are you going to go, oh, Virginia's in, but we can't put Miami in? Because I think everyone that's watched ACC this year will tell you Miami's better than Virginia. They just are. It's better pass rush. They have a better O-line. They don't have a better quarterback because Carson Beck's on UM. They have a better running back as Mark Fletcher. If you don't know him, he's one of the – when he goes to the NFL, by the way, I pray to God when Mark Fletcher goes to the NFL, he's getting 18 carries a game because that's the type of running back he is. He is such a dog. I've watched him in person in high school and in person in college. I mean, he's a next-level athlete. Miami just has to do their job and just win games. I'm not even saying win them by 30 like they did against NC State, but you got to win by at least 20, and it has to be good. It has to be like a good 20-point win. Like it can't be like you have to perform basically in the first half like you did against FSU, where you had 2 bad drives to start the game, but then you won the game by midway through the second quarter because you had 21 points already, and then you just lollygagged the way home, and that's the only reason that game was the score was at all close. But I'm going to say there's going to be 2 teams out of the ACC. I think Virginia's going to win the ACC championship, and Miami's going to sneak in.
Oh, because I was thinking about a hypothetical. Georgia Tech wins it, right? The conference, that is. Because, again, Miami, slim to none chance of making the conference championship unless specific things happen. If Georgia Tech was to win the conference, I think they will make it as one of the, the Power 4, which basically have to call it Power 4 now because they killed the Pac-12 for some reason. But the Power 4 team, I think they might be able to make it if the committee ranks them within a top 15 spot. And then the Hurricanes will come in as a powerhouse team that's not a conference champion, whatever, one of the better ones. Yeah. But if Virginia was to win it, I don't think Virginia would even get a chance. I don't think the committee will even give them the light of day of consideration.
The only reason I think Virginia would make it in this hypothetical is because they'd have to win the next 2 games. And then you go, oh, okay, they're at, let's say, 22 on the AP. Let's take the AP as a college football playoff ranking, right? Because that's all we got right now. If they win their next 2 games, let's say they get to 19 or 18. I don't think that's a ridiculous thing to say. That seems very realistic right now with how everything's been going with the AP. They like moving teams up, too, if they get a good win. They win the ACC title game, hypothetically. Well, you have to put them in. You have to. Because if they're 18, win the title game, that's at least a 3-place bump.
At least.
And then if Miami does their job and they keep winning, it's not crazy to say Miami will be number 11 in the country. You can see the committee, they creep them up every single week, even if it's a good win or a bad one, they were doing it. Like they were creeping them because they want Miami in there because anyone will tell you college football is better when UM's good because it's a fun team to be good. So if they can have UM in it, I think they snubbed them last year. I don't think Miami would have done anything because how bad that defense was, but is it realistic that Georgia Tech makes it? Yes, but I will also say if Georgia Tech makes the playoff, I don't think UM makes the playoff. I don't think then you put 2 ACC teams in.
So you're saying Virginia, then Miami comes in, Georgia Tech, then the committee will be fine with just one ACC, just Georgia Tech.
Because here's the thing: is I think the committee's shown you already. They don't really respect the ACC. Most of college football doesn't respect the ACC anymore, which it sucks to say, but it's fair because what's happened? Clemson ran the ACC for a decade, and then it's either Georgia Tech sneaks their way into it. Pitt does it did it a couple years ago. They got there once, and then they're supposed to be the second biggest name in the whole conference, Miami. When was the last time they went to an ACC title game?
For the Hurricanes, that had to be Barrios years.
2017.
2017. It's 2025. Yeah. We're nearing a decade since they've been to an ACC title game. Like, and that 2017 team wasn't even that good. They beat Notre Dame at home. Like, they were like number 2 in the country, and then they lost to an unranked team. Like, it's the same story every year with Miami.
The only way I see, like, I'm looking here right now. SMU is 5-1 in the conference. Pittsburgh is 5-1. Virginia's 6-1, and Georgia Tech is 6-1. SMU this week plays number 20 Louisville. I'm expecting Louisville to win that game. So if Louisville beats SMU goes down to 5-2 in the conference. If Miami wins this weekend against Virginia Tech, which I'm expecting, hopefully, fingers hope to crowd, that they'll end up being 5-2. That puts them over SMU, and then depending on what happens with Pittsburgh and Georgia Tech this weekend, whoever wins ends up probably making the ACC championship game. But the thing is, Miami plays Pittsburgh the week after. So if Pittsburgh ends up beating Georgia Tech, and Miami beats Pittsburgh the week after, Miami would play Virginia in the ACC title game.
Which should be an easy win for them, but also in a very disgusting fashion.
I'm not saying no easy win anymore. I'm not saying it anymore.
No, I'm not saying it again. Should be an easy win. Again, in the ACC, you never know. But I think the most disgusting thing we got to talk about, though, one of our fellow natives of South Florida, Manny Diaz and the Duke Blue Devils, could be a very big outlier in this conference championship. One of the favorites, actually, funny enough, percentage-wise, to really make it. Not a lot of people are putting them down to make it, me included. But, Jonka, you think Manny Diaz might be able to win a conference championship before the Hurricanes even win their first ACC championship with the Blue Devils?
First of all, I'm not saying his name. The name is Danny Maez. And I mean, it's possible. Like, it's the same thing as right now with the Canes. Like, it's mathematically possible.
Right.
But it would take a lot for it to happen. It would take miracles. It would take a lot of losing from Miami, SMU, Pitt, Georgia Tech, and Virginia all at the same time. And then Duke winning out. And then a couple more losses. I don't think it's going to happen. Plus, like, this is the problem I see with the college football conferences and the games, the championship games. Duke is right now 5-5, and they still somehow can make the championship game.
Yeah,
like, put that into perspective, bro. 5-5, that is you're eliminated from college football playoff, but you're still not eliminated. Make that make sense.
And again, potentially not even bowl eligible, right? They could lose all the games, not even a bowl team. Who knows? Again, but Duke up with a really great chance. I do want to go into another perspective, though, because, again, away from college football playoffs, away from the ACC, but Conference USA. Because on top of other teams out there making some shouting around, the FIU Panthers, huge overtime win against Liberty. And this is a team that's on a mission. They haven't been to a bowl game since 2019, since the Butch Davis years. McIntyre was not really the answer. Coach Simmons has been the answer in year one. They are now a game away from bowl eligibility, first time since 2019. Their last remaining games, their last home game, senior day against Jack State on the 22nd of November. And then basically New Year's, Thanksgiving week, the 29th, they'll be on the road against Sam Houston. Now, I think the Sam Houston game is going to be very iffy. I'm not too positive that's a confident win for the Panthers. But Jack State, a team that basically, in my opinion, you just can't trust them. you really just can't trust them. That's a team that's very sneaky, especially in the conference. They have a really great chance. What are we thinking here, guys? What are we thinking? You think that Jack State doing it at home? You think that's the only time the Panthers can make it to a bowl eligible season?
So what?
Oh, Blake, you're muted. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know what on earth just happened there. No, but it should be a win. I'll be honest. I'm probably not the perfect person to talk about it. I don't watch a lot of CUSA, but I know a lot of guys on the FIU team. I played with a lot of them. Shout out Webb. Shout out Julian Lewis. But I'm not the best guy to speak about it. I'm going to leave that to you guys. I think they'll do it just because I know some of the guys on that team and I know what kind of dogs they are. So,
yeah, it's a close one, man.
I'm looking at the standings of the Conference USA standings right now. Jacksonville State is number 1. They're 6-0 in the conference, 7-3 overall. They're not the team with the best record overall, which is Western Kentucky, which beat FIU. Oh no, we beat FIU. We beat FIU 25-6 at Western Kentucky. So that's a statement to be made. Like, man. I don't know what to expect. At the like Brandon said, it's the last home game of the season. You win this game, you're bowl eligible for the first time since 2019. I think they should. Oh my god, I don't want to go out and say something crazy, but
no,
you better have some wood near you. You better have some wood near you. Knock on wood.
Say it. Put your money where your mouth is. Come on.
I think FIU goes out and wins by 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
Oh.
I thought you were just going to say FIU wins, and I was like, all right, just say it. No,
I like it. I like it. And again, I do like the idea of them getting it out of the way because I think on the road is going to be much harder, especially, again, Sam Houston's on a 2-game winning streak. But, I mean, those FIU Panthers, man, I like how college football in South Florida has just been, like, rebooted into winning cultures again. Like, FIU back to bowl eligibility. The Canes, obviously, a favor make the playoffs. And this time, we don't have to worry about the conference championship, you know? No, like Syracuse at the end. Nothing insane. Knock on wood. Knock on wood.
Nightmares, bro. Stop giving me nightmares.
I'm not trying. You know what? I had nightmares of that too. That defense, no longer there.
Thank God.
And again,
that defense was so terrible.
The only hiccup I can see is that Jacksonville State is kind of still, if they were to lose this game, they can't afford to lose because they would lose technically first place in the Conference USA. Like they have Western Kentucky, Kennesaw State, and Missouri State all with 1 loss in the conference. So they can't really afford to lose this game because then they would kind of be eliminated or go down. And they would be 7-4. So they can't afford to lose, and so does Florida, and FIU can't afford to lose either because, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen at Sam Houston. You know, it's enemy territory, so anything can happen. This game is going to be tricky. I would love to go to that game, but unfortunately, I have to go somewhere. So I'll be watching in spirit.
I'm not glad. I think FIU is the most disappointing program in college football, and I have reasoning for it.
I mean, there's also Kennesaw State, though.
No. Listen. This might be a hot take, but
I
listen.
gotta hear this. This is a good one.
What's the big university of South Florida? University of Miami.
Yes.
Jonka, you are tapped in with college football recruiting, correct?
Yes.
What is the Florida capital of the state right now in recruiting? Where is it at? From my knowledge, it's Opelika.
Okay, yeah, around there. Yeah.
Opelika. It's right. It's a small city right outside of Miami. It is by every meaning of the word the hood. Every meaning of the word. Do you know the closest university to Opelika is? FIU. Yeah. So if these guys aren't going to University of Miami, because Miami's getting all the South Florida guys. Any South Florida guy they go after right now, they're getting. That's what's been happening.
FSU, Florida.
Right. So what I'm saying
Alabama,
is
Missouri,
the issue
Ohio
I'm having with FIU is you should be getting these borderline 3-star, mid to high 3-star guys. They should be flocking to you because if they go on a visit to Miami, right? You know, John, you know all about the visits. Like if you're a 3-star, you're going on a visit to Miami. Just it always happens. But that FIU should be pouncing on every 3-star they can get.
Facts.
They should be, it sounds disgusting, but they should be picking up Miami scraps because let's say you start picking up Miami scraps consistently over and over again. And let's say you get lucky, you land a 4-star, right? Let you get lucky and it happens. We've seen crazier things happen before. Like, this should be a team consistently fighting, not just for the CUSA title, but just consistently fighting to be a top 25 team. If you're a South Florida team and you're this close to all the elite talent in South Florida, that's my hot take about FIU, because I basically lived at that university. It's a great college to be at. It's a fun school. You mix good education, fun times with your location. You're the only school that's actually in Miami. University of Miami is in Coral Gables. They're 20 minutes south of Miami. Like, they're not even there.
Yeah. It's basically the University of Coral Gables, the University of South Florida. And I mean the South Florida that no one visits, like Kendall or Cutler Bay, basically.
Cutler Bay, that's so disrespectful.
But like, be honest, no one will go out there.
No one goes. I don't.
Maybe in Cutler Bay. You mean the Everglades? You mean like I'm going to the Keys?
I've never heard someone go like, "Oh, there's this nice joint out in Kendall we should go to."
Yeah,
like what you just described was basically the Miami Marlins. They're in a peak location with Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua, all these top countries that basically generate baseball prodigies.
And South Florida.
In some way, somehow, you can't get any of them to come play for you.
I want you to go look at
what it is.
If anyone cares about baseball, I know I'm getting us off track for a half a second. Go look at the Marlins farm system, because I can attest to this as someone that was playing competitive baseball and was scouted for college. The Marlins farm system has almost no people from South Florida. Almost none. It's crazy to think about, because I play against some of these guys that are now in the farm systems for like the Los Angeles Angels, some with the Dodgers, there's guys with the Braves that I played against or I played on. Like, I don't understand this thing with South Florida and not looking at our own talent. For some of them, I know FIU is a bit different, but for the Marlins, I think it's terrible, because these guys guess what? When they go with these 18-year-olds at either high school or they get drafted junior year of college, I'm pretty sure is the rule in college. You can't come out till you're a junior. Guess what? Low and high A ball for the Marlins, it's in Boca. They can stay at home. They can sleep in their own bed. Like, it's ridiculous. Sorry, I sidetracked this. I'll talk how shitty minor league baseball is any day. It's terrible.
You're good. You're good. And again, Marlins new front office moves this year, so maybe something changes. Who knows? But speaking of change, though, let's change on to the NFL side of thing with the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins playing the NFL's first game ever played in España, Spain. Madrid, it was a crazy game, 16-13 Dolphins over the Commanders. The Commanders led by Marcus Mariota. That game, funny enough, went down to the wire for absolutely no reason. McDaniel nearly lost his job. We're talking about fourth down stops at the goal, 1 yard away, unable to punch it in, missed game-winning field goals, game-winning interceptions. This game had everything in combined with it. And somehow the Dolphins have some life now. First ever winning streak of the year, late in November. And now the question is, look at the rest of the season. 4-7 now. You go on to host New Orleans. You go on the road to play against the Jets, which you beat earlier this season in a rivalry edition jersey. You play against the Steelers. The Steelers, Aaron Rodgers with a wrist injury over the weekend. Who knows what his availability will be like, let alone how that team is going to look like.
There's zero chance he starts. Based on the reports, he has a slight break in his wrist. There's zero chance you start with a slight break.
Zero chance starting quarterback. After that, Bengals and a low-life Bengals team you're hosting on Sunday Night Football, primetime NBC. And, of course, the burial that should be Buccaneers-Dolphins for the last home game. Then Patriots, who are 9-2, the Pats. And, again, I have to admit when I'm wrong. I was wrong about New England. Did not expect the New England to jump out a year later after a 5-win year. But the Dolphins, besides the last 2 games of the year, because the last 2 games of the year we all can agree are going to be like a real rough battle for them. But, and we said the same thing after their first win against the Jets. They can win a lot of games here. They can climb back in, only 4-7. If you get yourself within 7 of 7, maybe you're talking wild card, maybe you're talking about in the hunt, going to the Buccaneers game.
It looks like 9-8 will be the wild card. That last wild card spot looks like 9-8 will probably get it for you.
Maybe. And again, that's if they even win that many games. But, Jonk, I want to start with you first, though, because obviously, division rival Patriots. As a division rival, you're looking from the outside in, because I would probably say this Dolphin team, I think the offense has started itself kind of late in the year. Tua looks much better. Devon Achane obviously has been like an all-star Pro Bowl type of guy, first ballot Pro Bowl in my honest opinion for this season. And now Ollie Gordon's being more incorporated over Jalen Wright. The offense running-wise look good. The O-line looks great. Jonk, I'm curious, do you think the Dolphins could make some noise in the AFC for a wild card spot? Not division-wise, but wild card.
I mean, pull up their schedule because I think I saw the recent. Let's see, they play the Saints on Sunday.
That should be a win.
They play the Jets, another win.
Win.
If by the next 2 weeks Aaron Rodgers is still dealing with that injury on his wrist, I think, if I'm correct.
Yeah, dealing with the wrist, and again, actually, Dolphins in a bye week now.
Oh, they're in about okay. So
which I think is massive for him at this point in the season.
Yeah, it's big. For some reason, we have ours in 2 weeks, but that doesn't matter. I think they will go out. I think somehow they beat the Steelers. I don't know why, but I have a feeling they beat the Steelers.
Yep.
But I think they lose to the Bengals because I think by then Joe Burrow is going to be playing. Then they lose to
Joe Burrow. That's another. Would Joe Burrow even save their season?
I don't think they'll save their season, but I think it can make it interesting depending on what they do. Because I know we play them this weekend.
Yeah.
And Joe Burrow's not playing. Jamar Chase suspended. He's trying to appeal that, and then Trey Hendrickson might not play. So
I think he's gonna.
They might be gearing up for a late push. If Joe Flacco can lead the way,
I would say a rebuild. I would say not a sense of a rebuild, like clean house, but let's start losing games to get a good draft pick if they could.
5-7, 6-7, 7-7, and that Bengals game could be interesting. That could be a turning point right there. 8-7, they lose 8-8, and then depending on that I think that last week against us,
you have to either beat the Pats or the Bucks. That's your only chance. You can't lose both.
Yeah,
you can't lose both. And the Pats is going to be at Pats. It's going to be in the snow, in the cold. Yeah. And depending on what happens with the Bills, that game might be left up to the Patriots. And if they win that game, they win the division because the Bills are not going to let up. We do play the Bills. If we were to beat the Bills, I think in 2 or 3 weeks after that bye week, then I think the division's ours. And we don't have to play that last game against you. And you possibly win that game. And that can lead you in.
The question would also be, would the AFC entirely be still available for New England? Because if it's a last week thing and the Colts are right there and all these other different teams that are pushing, like the Broncos with a huge win against Kansas City.
Crazy.
Broncos look so good.
So good going to the end of the year. If the AFC at large is at play, I don't know if Drake May sits. I don't think that any of those guys sits for New England. That's what I would say.
I think it's all depend on if the Patriots have a chance at the 1 seed, if they were to beat the Dolphins, if they were to secure the Dolphins with a win, and they get the 1st seed, I think they play Drake May. But I think if the division is a lock, and they're like, okay, the Colts are, let's say we lose to the Ravens or the Bills, we lose one of those 2 games, I think the Colts take the 1st seed, and then we just decide like, okay, you know what? We can either take the 2nd or the 3rd seed because the Broncos. I don't think the Broncos are gonna win out. To be honest, I think they'll lose 2 or 3 games. I think they're gonna fall a little bit. That's just as me. But we play the Bengals. I think we beat the Bengals. We beat the Giants. We head to a bye week, and then we go home and play the Bills at home. So that is gonna be a big game. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Great game. That's gonna be. I'm gonna be locked on that day. Then we play the Ravens in Baltimore. Then we play the Jets, and then we play home. I don't know if you guys noticed, just based on the schedule, if let me just show you guys right here. I'll even show it to you guys right here. Look, if you look at the schedule, the Bengals and the rest, bro, we don't leave the Northeast for the rest of the season. We got Ohio, New York, New England, Maryland, Jets, and then back to New England. We don't leave the Northeast, so there's not enough. There's not really a lot of traveling there, and with that bye week after the Giants on Monday night, it's gonna be. I'm not gonna say anything's a lock right now because anything can happen. We did lose Milton Williams for 4 to 5 weeks, and that's like our star defensive tackle that we signed for over $100 million. But that's going to be a tough one. I think that Bills game is going to really determine our season because I think we do beat the Ravens. I don't think the Ravens are even that good, bro.
Well, I would say this though, because I'm also looking at the percentage-wise chances, and percentages really don't mean anything until we get to the last 2 weeks, basically, when you're really doing the math.
Yeah.
The Baltimore Ravens, 77% probability of making the playoffs right now. Climbing back 5-5. Dolphins are right below them. And here's how crazy the line is. Because again, the Ravens into the AFC.
Pittsburgh lost. Okay.
We have the Dolphins at a 1% chance currently right now through week 11. Blake, 1% chance. And funny enough, they have a better chance of making the postseason than the Bengals, Raiders, Jets, Browns, and Titans, and that's about it. All right? That's about it, according to NFL.com. But Blake,
1% shocking, but I get it.
But Blake, I want your thoughts on this. Again, Dolphin fan as well. You've seen this team. We discussed, we cried about this team, begged that we change. We're starting to see the one time we see a GM or the front office do something. In other words, the GM getting fired. We're on a 2-0 winning streak. Do you think this streak lives on? And do you think this could be a playoff push now?
Resident Dolphin writer, by the way. I need to have a word with Daniel because I think there might have been something wrong on my end because I sent him the article on Thursday and it didn't get posted. So I don't know if I messed up or something. And I might have sent it to the wrong email because I typed it in, but I'll ask him about that because that was a really good article because it was just me going like – because I watched that game in person. I was just like – the whole article was like, how on earth did we just beat the Bills? But here's the thing. Which it's very tough because I think if you get 9 wins, you make the playoffs. The issue the Dolphins have is they should win every single game until the Bucs Pats that back-to-back. I don't think they beat the Bucs or the Pats. Right? It's very realistic that they went out. And here's the thing is, and we talked about this even before we the Falcons game. The Dolphins realistically really could have been a winning team if they just didn't choke 3 different times.
If Jalen Phillips could have made tackles, make sacks.
I mean, the Dolphins genuinely, and I don't know how they could have been a over 500 team because it would have been like the 2016 Dolphins that were minus 50 and made the playoffs. Yeah. But if I had to put my money on it, it's an easy no. But I definitely wouldn't say it's not possible because I think recently Tua still has the interceptions, but I wouldn't say he's played bad. Like the 2 interceptions he had against the Bills were both on 3rd and longs. They were just arm punts, and I like taking the risk to Waddle because you have him. I think we've seen Waddle show that he is a wide receiver 1, but last week we do need to talk about the drops because it's concerning because he's done this quite a bit in his career where he'll get like 8 targets in a game. He'll get 6 catches and he'll have a drop. And he had 2 drops that really, they wouldn't have been a close game if he dropped both those passes because it would have put us in field goal range both times to kick a field goal. I think we're seeing that the O-line is consistently doing the trap blocks the way Mike McDaniel wants it done. That's really big for us. The Dolphins like running a trap block with their center. They like double teaming and then the center curling around to the linebacker so it can make that open area for Devon Achane to cut inside, which he's been doing a lot of. And now that we're averaging in the last 4 weeks, we're averaging over 90 yards a game on the ground, which in that offense, if you're over 90 yards or close to 100, that's when that offense really opens up and Tua can do what he wants to do. Jonko, what do you think the betting line for the Dolphins to make the playoffs would be? Because I'm going to see if I would take it or not.
I would say
Plus
plus
900.
I
wouldn't even say plus 2,000 because here's the issue is if you go to the Dolphins schedule and the odds makers you can look right now are giving the Dolphins 3 straight wins on the based on the odds.
I can see that.
The Dolphins come out, they're 7-7. The let's say everything stays almost the exact same as it is. You just need to be one game over 500 to get the final seed in the playoffs.
Yeah, but again, we're also talking about because of right now, and again, this is teams currently, basically you're looking at the last team in the hunt, or if not a potential wildcard team, Jaguars at 7, 6-4.
They will fall.
They could fall, but I don't like the idea that everyone's like the Ravens aren't going to make it, or like the Texans didn't get a rejuvenation after the Jaguars win, or like the Chiefs who right now have the 52% chance of making the playoffs right now. They don't have to make the playoffs through winning their division. There could be 3 teams in the AFC West easily with the Chargers.
It was the NFC West for years doing it.
Exactly. I'm telling you.
I think the Dolphins are going to win this weekend or the next weekend because they're on a bye week. But I will say, just because of experience from I think 2 months ago when we played the Saints, do not underestimate the Saints. They're a bit sneaky. I'm not even kidding, bro. They're a bit sneaky. Like they don't care if they lose, but they'll try to win as much as possible. And Chris Olave, I think, can cook any of the DBs that the Dolphins have right now. Like, to be honest.
The question is, who is the quarterback?
Easily.
The question is, you got a rookie quarterback. How does Bradley Chubb respond? Like we saw with Shedeur Sanders. They literally said after the game, hey, we had to let Shedeur know, he's going to be a great player for the rest of his years, but he's a rookie. We can't let a rookie do anything to us. And they picked Shedeur. They'll probably do the same thing with the Dolphins. The Dolphins getting basically – and this was a team that we worried about not getting any turnovers early in the year. They're getting turnovers in, bunches, special teams, defensive, obviously. And, again, I know we're on borrowed time right now. We got a few minutes left in the podcast. The last thing I do want to ask, though, because I did want to push for McDaniels and Tua going through 2026, their future. But I do want to put this out there. This wasn't on y'all's rundown. But Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo practicing together on a court for the first time in almost half a year. They practiced in, believe, Sunday afternoon. Tyler Hero talks to the media, said he could be back in a week or two. His words. And in a week or two, Tyler Hero.
Yes.
I'd rather hear Brandon's take on this because I'm not
going to lie.
I watched a couple Heat games. And they look better without Tyler Hero because I'm a Tyler Hero out guy personally. So
yeah, and speaking of which, I did write an article about that as well, which you'll be able to find everything on PlugTalkSports.com. But I'm telling you though, when you look at this current Miami Heat team, Eric Spoelstra reinvented this team. We're talking about a team that can live in today's NBA, over 130 points, one of the top scoring teams in the NBA currently, top 10 in assists, and Norman Powell, overall usage guy, getting you blink an eye, he has 25 points, right? 7 guys on this team have double-digit averages, and that includes Jovic, who slowly is getting there.
I don't know how you can't love Eric Spoelstra. I don't get it. I don't get it if you don't.
It's impossible. But I think when you add Tyler Hero in this equation, how easy can he fit in to the current system right now? Because obviously he's going to be a big guy. He's going to get the ball more. Hawkins might have to take a step back in this current offense. We might see Norman Powell.
It would have to be Norman Powell. Who do you trust more, Norman Powell or Tyler Hero?
The question is, because I like the mindset, who would you trust more? But also, where would you put Tyler off the bat? Would you take him off coming on the bench? Would you have Tyler Hero immediately go into the starting lineup? And again, this is going to be hypothetical without Bam Adebayo, so already playing small ball. Where do you see this Heat offense going with Tyler Hero? I would say if you bring in Tyler Hero back, you got to lower the limits on Hawkins. Keep Tyler Hero and Powell on the court at the same time. And if not, use the B route that they used in the playoffs back in the day. Tyler Hero coming off the bench, second group, gets more energy like that on an offensive end. But that's my thoughts on it. And honestly, for the Heat, I think the coolest part about all this if Tyler Hero was to miss the next week or two, he wouldn't even be able to make an All-Star game, let alone any MVP, anything like that, which also means, because according to his current contract, he wouldn't be able to get those All-Star bonuses for this year. So that's another reason why I think that Tyler Hero is kind of rushing the progress of his rehab.
Look, here's the thing, is all right. Tyler Hero is now at the point where he's been paid money. Tyler Hero is going to want the ball. And what I think is helping the Heat is Norman Powell is a good decision maker. He makes good decisions constantly over and over, even if it's just like just let me pass it out to the wing real quick and let them start making the offense from there. Tyler Hero's going to want the ball and do everything. We've seen him run the point. It's not fun to watch. He's not that good at it. Tyler Hero is a true two guard, but he's a small true two guard. He wants to get the ball on the wing, work one-on-one, and run around screens. He shouldn't ever be bringing the ball up and starting the offense. And I think what's going to happen is you're going to see if him and Norman Powell are on the court together, Eric Spoelstra is going to have a headache because Tyler Hero's going to get on the wing with Norman Powell bringing it up, and he's going to clap his hands and call ball, and Norman Powell's going to be like, either no, or he's just going to give it to him right away, and Tyler Hero's going to try and ISO or try to dump it down and try to use a cut screen on the back and try to put up a three in the corner when Norman Powell can just set up the offense, what he's been doing, and he'd been electric on offense. So I personally think now is the perfect time. Let Tyler Hero come back, play 5 games. If he has one good game in 5 games, you trade him. You get off him. But that's also just me personally. I am not a Tyler Hero guy. I want him out. So I think he makes the team worse overall. But
whoa.
Oh, hey, I don't hate the take. I don't hate it.
It's a W take.
Okay. This is a W take. LeBron coming back with the Lakers and affecting what's going on.
Jonathan, let me cut you off. Hey, Fabian, are you still here, Fabian? Fabian Brown 309. What's this no chat interaction, buddy? Listen to me right here. Start talking right now, bud. All right? Start talking right now. I said this guy put Duke is a likely candidate to win the ACC title game. Get out of the chat. Get him gone. Ban him. Don't care. Goodbye. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Mods, can we ban this guy, please, mods? Can we ban this guy?
Mods, take care of this dumb. I'm not gonna say the word. I'm not gonna say it. All right, go ahead, Jonathan. Sorry.
That was awesome. But this is like a similar situation to what's going on with the Lakers right now with Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic, where like they're really working well together, and then you're gonna bring in LeBron James, who likes to like kind of like use the ball too much. The usage rate is too much. He likes to do way too much. Like I know I'm saying too much, but like LeBron is gonna affect that team in a negative way because you're gonna make Austin Reeves the third option again. He's playing well. You're gonna affect his playing style, bro. Like, and then this is the same thing. Yeah, Tyler Hero's gonna come in, is gonna affect everything. Now everything's gonna be out of whack. And all of a sudden, the team they don't know what to do now. They're like, everything was working till now. What's going on? What's the common denominator?
Yeah, but we can't just say that, though, because when Bam Adebayo was there, offense was still good. When he gets hurt and you're playing small ball, the offense is still good. Now, I understand the idea of Tyler Hero taking the ball away from guys. I understand that argument. Tyler Hero getting the ball in his hands, taking the ball away from, let's say, Wiggins minutes or anything like that.
But the difference is that Bam defends.
Yeah, but he also has the ball in isolation on the block, though. We've seen it at times. We've seen it. And again, I think that when you look at the current offense and you look at the current situation with the Heat, the biggest issue with Miami, because we talk about the offense is not the biggest issue about Miami. The biggest issue with Miami today is allowing over 130 points in the last 4 out of 5 games. The defense is atrocious. Norman Powell, he's pretty good at defense.
You know who makes it even worse is Tyler Hero.
Yeah, but I'll put Tyler Hero defensively over Davion Mitchell, to be honest. Davion is scrappy, but he doesn't have the stance. He doesn't have the wide size. Okay, I seen the guy get beat plenty of times. You saw what Josh Hart. Hold on, let's talk about the Laramie Shamet game the other day.
You mean the GOAT Landry Shamet? Don't disrespect Landry Shamet. No, I'm kidding.
A career high 35, 36 points. Who was guarding him? I leave it at that.
Listen, I understand that the Heat are giving up a lot of points right now, but we also have to take into account that Bam Adebayo is not playing. Let's see what happens
Yeah,
when
you
he
know,
comes back.
the guys are not bigs, though. I mean, again, granted, the Cavaliers game where they gave up 130 to the Cavs in a loss, Garrett Allen went off, and maybe that's Cole Ware not being able to put his feet in the ground. But, man, the guards have been taking chances, though. We have Proctor, a rookie out of Duke from the Cavaliers, taking chances against Mitchell and Jaime Jaquez. People talk about now about Jaquez. Funny, I don't know why this question has come up recently, but a lot of people are asking Jaquez, teams are now putting bigger guys on you. You think this is an issue? He's been asked that like 5 times throughout the week, So I think,
but Brandon, I think you can assess who's watching it so much. It's a somewhat fair question because Jaquez's whole thing is he's very pace oriented in the way he scores. He wants to control the pace of what's happening. So how do you stop that? We saw the Celtics do it against Luka in the championship. You try to just put a bigger body on him because if Lucas is going to slow down the pace and then accelerate, why not put a big body on him and try to slow it down?
Hey, that was just Jaylen Brown. That was just Jaylen Brown cooking.
Jason Tatum took that assignment a lot. Jason Tatum took that assignment a lot too.
That too. But again, the point I'm trying to make is, though, I think Tyler Hero, we talk about the offense, and I think he's going to slowly get into it, though. He's not going to be pushing the starting lineup. But this got to be a plus defensively. And then when Bam comes back, obviously you got your best defensive lineup out there. Not saying that Tyler Hero is a best two-way player. I'm not saying anything crazy like that. And we're running out of time here, so this will be the last thing I would say. Tyler Hero, when he gets back on the court, it'll be prime time basketball, which, of course, we'll have more about that. Hopefully makes his debut later on this week. Who knows? But that's going to be all the time. We thank again for joining.
Brandon, real quick before you close out, I want to ask you one question then.
Okay.
If you didn't have Tyler Hero for the whole year, what's the Heat's record? And if you add Tyler Hero to this team, what's the Heat's record?
Well, with this current team, without Tyler Hero, I think you have a line at 43 wins.
That's right where I'm at. I said the max is 40.
I think with Tyler Hero, you're looking at 50.
Okay, then what if I said the name John Morant instead of Tyler Hero? Because that's the big rumor.
That's all the time we have, folks. That's all the time we have. I'm not getting into John hypotheticals. We're gonna say that for Wednesday night.
Bro, bring him into Heat culture, bro.
That man's culture is getting fined. That's the culture he's got. He doesn't have a defensive culture. He doesn't have anything but getting fined. I'll leave it at that.
And a high ankle sprain.
And a high ankle sprain. God forbid that. God forbid. High ankle sprains, they got Wemby with a high ankle sprain, or calf strain, that is. But either way.
Calf strains suck. They suck.
If you have that, do not play again on the floor. We saw what happened to Tyrese Halliburton Game 7.
Don't walk.
Don't even stand. Don't even stand. But longest outro ever. That's going to do it for our hour, guys. We appreciate you coming in on YouTube and Twitch and other different platforms. We'll see you guys next Monday. Same time, same place.
Tyler Hero out, guys.
Support the troops.